For privacy reasons, names and places have been changed. This story is inspired by true events.
On a warm morning in 2010, 27-year-old Kiana Brooks, a visitor from California, left her beach towel and yoga mat on the sands of a secluded Kauai Cove, walking toward the enticing tide pools. She never returned. Despite an extensive and immediate investigation involving local police, lifeguards, and numerous community volunteers, Kiana vanished without a trace from the idyllic Hawaiian shoreline. For 15 agonizing years, her family lived with the crushing weight of unanswered questions and profound uncertainty, their hope for closure slowly eroding. Then, in 2025, a startling discovery was made, far from the original search area. A sand-packed day pack, sealed by mineral crust, deep within a remote sea cave reigniting a cold case. This is the complete investigation into what happened to Kiana Brooks. Before we continue, let us know where you're watching from, and if you enjoy this content, consider liking and subscribing to our channel. Now let's continue. The island of Kauai, Hawaii, is a tapestry of emerald mountains, cascading waterfalls, and pristine beaches, a place where the wild beauty of nature reigns supreme. Its secluded coves, often accessible only by foot or sea, offer a profound sense of tranquility, a sanctuary from the modern world. It was to one such remote stretch of golden sand that Kiana Brooks, a 27-year-old visitor from California, found herself drawn in the spring of 2010. She had arrived seeking solace and adventure, captivated by the island's reputation as the Garden Isle and its promise of unspoiled natural grandeur. On the morning of April 12, 2010, Kiana adhered to her established ritual. As the first rays of sunlight began to paint the eastern sky, she unrolled her yoga mat on the soft sand of a secluded cove, performing a series of sun salutations as the ocean whispered its ancient rhythm against the shore. Her practice concluded, she carefully folded her vibrant blue towel, placing it alongside her small day pack near a cluster of sea grapes at the edge of the tree line. The tide was notably low that morning, revealing a mesmerizing expanse of tide pools further down the beach, teeming with vibrant marine life. Kiana, with a curious spirit and a desire to explore, took a few steps away from her belongings, intending to inspect the intricate ecosystems trapped within the exposed rock formations. She walked towards the glistening pools, her silhouette briefly visible against the brightening horizon, then disappeared from view behind a small rock outcrop. This was the last confirmed observation of Kiana Brooks. Hours passed. The sun climbed higher, warming the sand where her towel lay undisturbed. Her day pack remained untouched, a silent sentinel to an absence. No one observed her return to her belongings. The gentle sounds of the ocean continued, oblivious to the growing silence where a person had been. As the day progressed and the tide began to creep back in, an unsettling realization began to dawn among the few occasional beachgoers or local fishermen who might have frequented the remote area. Her abandoned possessions, once innocuous, now spoke volumes. Kiana Brooks had simply vanished. Her belongings, the only remaining testament to her presence, lay abandoned on the beach, offering no explanation, only an intensifying sense of dread. The serene cove, once a place of peace, now held a chilling secret, a mystery that would endure for years. The alarm was raised not by a direct witness to Kiana Brooks's disappearance, but by the gradual accumulation of unanswered questions surrounding her abandoned belongings. When her vibrant blue towel and day pack remained untouched on the secluded beach through the afternoon and into the evening, local authorities were notified. The initial response was swift, deploying emergency services to the remote Kauai Cove. Search and rescue teams, comprising both local police and volunteer groups, converged on the area, initiating a comprehensive effort to locate the missing Californian. The search encompassed both land and sea. On land, teams meticulously combed the dense coastal vegetation surrounding the cove, extending their sweep through the intricate network of lava formations and tide pools where Kiana had last been seen. Every crevice, every rock outcrop, and every potential hiding spot was examined with increasing urgency. Simultaneously, the United States Coast Guard, alongside local marine patrol units, launched a water search. Vessels navigated the nearshore waters, while divers explored the ocean floor directly off the cove, battling the unpredictable currents and often murky visibility characteristic of the island's coastline. Among those involved in these early strenuous efforts was lifeguard Nakoa Silva, a seasoned veteran of Kauai's challenging marine environment. Silva understood the ocean's immense power and its capacity to conceal. He knew that the currents around the island could be treacherous, capable of pulling even experienced swimmers far from shore in a matter of minutes. Despite the intensity of the search, the results were frustratingly meager. Aside from Kiana's abandoned towel and day pack, no other physical evidence emerged. There were no footprints leading away from the beach, no signs of a struggle, and critically, no eyewitnesses who had seen Kiana after her walk toward the tide pools. The initial theories quickly materialized. Had she been swept out to sea in an accidental drowning? Was foul play involved, given the isolated nature of the location? Or perhaps had Kiana voluntarily vanished, leaving her life behind? Each theory was explored, but without any corroborating evidence, they remained speculative. As days turned into a week, then two, the leads grew colder, and the initial hope began to wane. The vastness of the ocean and the dense, unforgiving landscape of Kauai seemed to swallow Kiana Brooks whole, leaving investigators with nothing but a deepening mystery and a profound sense of frustration. The frantic urgency that characterized the initial weeks of Kiana Brooks's disappearance gradually yielded to a grim, agonizing reality. As the calendar pages turned from weeks into months, and then inexorably into years, the active search efforts on Kauai slowly, but inevitably, wound down. The intense land patrols, meticulously combing every inch of the rugged coastline, dense jungle, and treacherous lava formations, eventually ceased their exhaustive sweeps. The United States Coast Guard and local marine units, after exhaustive operations involving surface vessels and underwater divers in often perilous currents, scaled back their presence. The helicopters that had once crisscrossed the skies in a desperate search pattern were no longer heard, their drone replaced by the natural sounds of the island. The dive teams, having braved challenging visibility and the immense pressure of the deep, concluded their underwater explorations without finding any trace of the missing Californian. The official file, once a priority with daily briefings and a constant flow of information, transitioned into a cold case. Kiana Brooks' name was added to the growing, disheartening list of missing persons. Her fate, an enduring enigma that haunted the island community and, more acutely, her family. For her loved ones in California, the passage of time brought no solace, only the deepening anguish of the unknown. Each sunrise over Kauai, visible in photographs, was a painful reminder of the last time she was seen, every sunset a testament to the agonizing, unanswered questions. Investigators, despite their dedicated efforts, were left with nothing more than Kiana's abandoned towel and day pack, silent artifacts on a beach that stubbornly refused to yield its secrets. The initial theories, accidental drowning, foul play, or a voluntary disappearance, remained just that, speculative hypotheses, unsupported by any tangible evidence that could propel the investigation forward. 15 years after Kiana Brooks walked towards the tide pools and vanished, the secluded cove where she was last seen retains its pristine yet profoundly haunting beauty. The waves continue their rhythmic dance against the shore. The sea grapes still fringe the sand and the tide pools still teem with life, oblivious to the human tragedy that unfolded there. But for those who remember, an invisible shroud of mystery persists, a palpable sense of something unfinished. Lifeguard Nakoa Silva, whose professional life was intrinsically linked to the unpredictable and often unforgiving nature of Kauai's waters, often found his gaze drawn to that particular stretch of coastline. He had seen the ocean's raw power firsthand, its capacity to both consume and conceal. The Kiana Brooks case became a quiet, enduring professional burden, a stark reminder that even with the most advanced resources and unwavering dedication, the vastness and untamed force of the Pacific could render human efforts futile. Her disappearance remained a persistent shadow on the island, a story whispered among locals, a cold case that seemed destined to remain unsolved, a testament to the enduring, silent power of the ocean. 15 years had elapsed since Kiana Brooks walked towards the tide pools and vanished into the silent embrace of Kauai's coastline. The case, long since categorized as cold, had faded from the daily headlines, though it lingered as a haunting local legend. Yet the ocean, a powerful keeper of secrets, was about to relinquish one. In 2025, Kalea Pacheco, a local spearfisher, navigated the coastal waters with an intimate knowledge born of decades spent exploring Kauai's hidden nooks. Her preferred hunting grounds often led her into the labyrinthine network of sea caves and lava tubes that punctuated the island's rugged shoreline, not far from the secluded cove where Kiana Brooks was last seen. These submerged geological formations, carved by ancient volcanic flows and sculpted by relentless tides, were her cathedral, offering both sustenance and solitude. One late afternoon, as an unusually low tide exposed previously submerged entrances, Kalea ventured into a particularly deep lava tube, its interior a cool, echoing chamber of basalt. There, wedged within a narrow crevice and partially buried under compacted sand, she saw it. A small day pack, its fabric hardened by a thick, crystalline mineral crust. Its zippers, once bright, were now fused shut, encrusted with marine growth and tiny barnacle shells. The pack itself was dense, heavy with the weight of sand and time. A chilling familiarity struck Kalea. The color, the size, it resonated with the long-dormant images from the Kiana Brooks missing person alerts that had once blanketed the island. This was no ordinary detritus of the sea. With a mixture of trepidation and profound significance, she carefully extracted the artifact from its ancient resting place and immediately contacted local law enforcement. The discovery prompted an immediate and decisive response. Detectives, some of whom had been on the force during the initial investigation, secured the lava tube as a crime scene, the remote location once again becoming the focal point of an intense inquiry. Forensic teams meticulously documented the find before carefully extracting the day pack, ensuring its delicate, time-worn condition was preserved. 15 years of silence had been shattered. This sand-packed relic, sealed by nature's slow hand, represented the first tangible lead in an investigation that had long been considered dormant, offering a glimmer of hope that Kiana Brooks' fate might finally be revealed. The sand-packed day pack, a fragile vessel of potential truth, was meticulously transported from the ancient lava tube to a state-of-the-art forensic laboratory on Oahu. Each movement was deliberate, calculated to preserve its delicate, encrusted state. For 15 years, the ocean had held it captive, sealing its contents with a thick, crystalline mineral crust, a testament to the relentless passage of time and the unique environment of its discovery. This calcified shell, while protecting the interior from complete degradation, also presented a formidable challenge to forensic scientists. The fabric was stiff, the zippers fused, and every crevice packed solid with fine marine sand, creating a dense, almost concrete-like mass. Forensic examination commenced with an understanding of these inherent difficulties, requiring a delicate balance between preservation and revelation. The immediate priority was to identify the owner. Was this indeed Kiana Brooks's day pack, or merely another piece of ocean debris, a cruel coincidence? Non-invasive techniques were employed initially. X-rays and CT scans were used to peer through the dense sand and mineral layers without physically disturbing the fragile contents. Investigators hoped to discern the outlines of personal effects: a wallet, identification, perhaps a phone or a journal, anything that could definitively link the bag to Kiana. Beyond identification, a more somber and critical question loomed. Did the day pack contain any human remains, even microscopic fragments, that could finally confirm Kiana's fate? Or conversely, did its contents, or lack thereof, suggest a different narrative, perhaps indicating that it had been deliberately placed in the cave, pointing towards foul play rather than an accidental disappearance? The meticulous process of carefully removing the mineral crust and sifting through the compacted sand began, an archaeological excavation in miniature, demanding patience and precision. Each grain, each fragment of marine life, was treated as potential evidence, painstakingly catalogued before the bag's interior could be accessed. The reopening of the Kiana Brooks case injected a palpable sense of renewed hope and urgency into the investigative team. For years, the file had sat dormant, a testament to an unsolvable mystery. Now, with this tangible clue, the possibility of providing answers to a grieving family and closure to a community haunted by the unknown seemed within reach. The silent ocean had finally spoken, and the investigators were ready to listen, hoping its secrets would finally yield the truth. The forensic analysis of the daypack, while yielding no human remains, presented a new complex puzzle that required specialized expertise. The mineral crust and compacted sand had protected its contents from complete degradation, but the true breakthrough would come from the smallest organisms clinging to its exterior. To interpret this unique marine evidence, investigators enlisted the help of Dr. Mei Yamamoto, a distinguished oceanographer with a deep understanding of marine biology and current dynamics. Dr. Yamamoto's focus immediately turned to the daypack's zipper, a robust metal component that had endured the ocean's forces for 15 years. Encased within the mineral crust were numerous barnacle shells, each a miniature chronicle of the conditions it had experienced. Through meticulous microscopy, Dr. Yamamoto identified and studied the individual growth bands visible on these barnacles, much like the rings of a tree. Barnacles grow in response to environmental factors, and distinct bands can be correlated with specific events, such as periods of abundant food, changes in water temperature, or critically, exposure to powerful surges of water. Her painstaking analysis revealed a series of growth bands that corresponded precisely to a powerful king tide surge. This extreme tidal event, known for its unusually high water levels and strong currents, had occurred on Kauai around April 2010, coinciding almost exactly with Kiana Brooks' disappearance. The size and formation of these specific bands indicated a period of intense, sustained water movement and submersion, consistent with the daypack being swept from a dynamic environment into a more sheltered, yet still water-filled space. This crucial dating provided the first tangible link to the time of Kiana's vanishing, but it did not fully explain how the daypack, and by extension Kiana, had ended up deep inside a lava tube. Dr. Yamamoto then employed sophisticated drift modeling, a computer-simulated reconstruction of ocean currents and their pathways. Inputting data on tidal patterns, wave heights, and bathymetry from the 2010 period, she simulated countless scenarios from the secluded cove. The models consistently highlighted a previously overlooked geological feature, a narrow, deep channel near the tide pools, hidden from casual observation, that created a powerful, localized rip current. This rip current, amplified by the force of the king tide surge, acted as a dynamic conduit, feeding directly into the very lava tube where the daypack was later discovered. The pieces of the puzzle began to interlock. The king tide surge had created an exceptionally dangerous scenario at the cove, generating an unusually strong rip current in the overlooked channel. This powerful current, far more potent than typical tidal flows, had then swept Kiana Brooks and her daypack from the exposed tide pools, carrying them inexorably into the darkness of the lava tube. The ocean, in its immense and indifferent power, had taken Kiana, sealing her fate within the very landscape she had come to admire. The scientific findings presented by Dr. Mei Yamamoto offered a definitive, albeit tragic, resolution to the 15-year-old mystery of Kiana Brooks's disappearance. The meticulous analysis of the barnacle growth bands on her daypack, coupled with the sophisticated drift modeling, painted a clear and consistent picture. Kiana Brooks, 27, a visitor from California, had not been the victim of foul play, nor had she voluntarily vanished. Instead, she had been tragically overcome by the immense and unpredictable power of the ocean. On that fateful morning in April 2010, while exploring the tide pools during an unusually low tide, a powerful king tide surge had coincided with a previously unacknowledged yet potent rip current feeding into a hidden lava tube. This confluence of natural forces had swept her from the safety of the shore, carrying her and her daypack into the dark, submerged cavern where the bag would lie undisturbed for a decade and a half. Her death was officially ruled an accidental drowning. For Kiana's family, the news brought a profound sense of bittersweet closure. While the absence of her remains meant a final resting place could not be established, The scientific certainty of her fate offered an end to the agonizing uncertainty that had plagued them for so long. The lingering questions, the endless speculation, were finally silenced by the undeniable evidence of the ocean's immense power. It was a stark reminder that even in places of breathtaking beauty, nature could be swift and unforgiving. Lifeguard Nakoa Silva, who had participated in the initial fruitless search efforts, reflected on the long unsolved mystery with a quiet solemnity. He had always known the ocean held secrets, but the precise scientific revelation of Kiana's final moments underscored the subtle complexities of Kauai's waters. The case served as a poignant lesson in the ocean's capacity to both nurture and consume, reinforcing the critical importance of understanding its currents and tides, especially in secluded areas. Dr. Mei Yamamoto echoed this sentiment, emphasizing the vital role of interdisciplinary science in unraveling such seemingly impossible cold cases. Her work highlighted how marine biology, oceanography, and forensic investigation could converge to provide answers where conventional methods had failed, transforming seemingly insignificant details into crucial pieces of a larger truth. The resolution of Kiana Brooks's disappearance became a testament to the enduring human quest for answers, a quest that, even after 15 years, could finally bring peace to a family and illuminate the silent power of the sea.